Business Podcast brought to you by Tokomines. I'm your host, Rob Igeram, Director at Tokomines, a blockchain agency that combines all crypto disciplines from marketing to development in one. In this podcast, we're discussing any blockchain topic that is relevant to businesses and entrepreneurs. Today, we're going to go over the relevant news of last week. I have in the podcast with me today Dev and Reinhart. Dev is a business development manager working in the blockchain field for several years now. And Reinhart is a data analyst working full-time on gathering and analyzing data in the crypto industry. Let's first start with our main article of today, which is from Forbes.com, and it describes the recent market crash of crypto and the fact that it hasn't affected the NFT market at all. So there is also another interesting article published about that on fx3.com, which actually is saying that because of the success of NFT sales, people are liquidating their Ethereum. So they see some statistics on OpenSea that people are sending their Ether to exchanges collected from the sales of NFTs and collected from the royalties over the last weeks, which is pressuring the Ethereum price down. So quite interesting developments. We also can see that, for example, in our NFT sales infograph, which Tokomines is sharing to the public, where we have some interesting data about that as well. So we already discussed last week about the different trends of the last couple of months being covered in that report, including NFT popularity in different regions of the world and the amount of NFT sales. But now it has a new page on the report added, which is the Bitcoin crypto price and popularity versus NFT sales. So there we can see some interesting data that the NFT sale actually went up in the last since the last couple of months. So we are not at the all-time high, but definitely higher than December and November. Although the amount of sales is also actually higher than November and December, which is potentially lower than last year, and that means that the floor prices went up a lot. Also interesting to know that Ethereum definitely has by far the most volume still. And yeah, as mentioned, the crypto price is quite under pressure, but NFTs seem to do fine, and you can almost think that it's beneficial for NFTs because gas fees might be lower, Ethereum price might be lower. A lot of the NFTs are sold in Ethereum, obviously. And then lastly, we have quite interesting statistic here about the Google trend. So it's kind of the search volume for different topics where we compare not only NFTs and Bitcoin and crypto, but we also have a couple of other trending topics like AI and IoT, for example. And we can see actually that there's only growth for NFTs every month to month, even the last month. Whereas crypto, yeah, you can see there's some pressure. And in overall, compared to like VR, metaverse, NFT is really doing a great job. Is definitely on top of the worldwide search volume. So yeah, I think this is quite interesting. What do you guys think about this, Dev and Reinhart?
Yeah, right. So, it brings my thoughts to the sentiment, the people's sentiment right now. So obviously, we know that the cryptocurrency market is not very strong. It's been crashing for a few weeks now, with Bitcoin being at its lowest price. So what does that reflect of people that invest in cryptocurrencies, and as to why? So it was always considered an instrument of significant appreciation, right? So they would not invest in traditional assets, but instead would invest in cryptocurrencies. But with the crash in cryptocurrencies and simultaneous ownership of NFTs, so maybe they're thinking that they should receive the profits and benefits of selling some of the NFTs at their peak value rather than taking the chance of deferring for a later time. At least that way they can compensate for the loss of the crypto market, losses that they may be experiencing. So those are my initial thoughts. What are your thoughts, Reinhart?
Well, yeah, back to the news that Rob just said. The Ethereum crashes, right? And some of them have a theory that they are liquidifying the Ethereum and like exchange it to NFT, right? And I guess that makes things really connected, I guess, because yeah, as we can see from the data before, the total volume and total transaction of NFT is quite rising, right? So perhaps the assumption of liquidifying some Ethereum to NFT is quite, it makes sense actually. And also, not only not only that, like in Indonesia as well, like NFT trend is going very, yeah, I mean, it's rising everywhere. You hear every time you go out, and yeah, you kind of hear NFT everywhere, man, in here in Indonesia, because I think it's some issue about Gozali as well. Yeah, and I guess I'm agree with the NFT trends, like if it is rising recently, because here in Indonesia that's the case.
Yeah, I actually, to be honest, I totally agree. I hear the same thing around me that people talk about NFTs because it's adopted by so many influencers, including, for example, I'm in Taiwan at the moment. There's a big Taiwanese celebrity that just sold some NFTs, so people know about it. But at the same time, I think that it's not a household name. I talk also to a lot of people that are completely outside of crypto, and I mention NFTs about to them, and they have no clue whatsoever. So they know Bitcoin and they're interested in Bitcoin, especially now the price is low. But NFTs they never heard of. So I think there's a long way up from here still. So yeah, let's go to the articles that you found for this week, Dev.
Yeah, so just how you were able to share with us a theme around some of the news this week. I have been able to get some articles as well. Again, with this overarching theme of big tech giants entering the space of blockchain Web 3.0 as we now know them. So we've got Google and YouTube coming out publicly in a way to announcing of their involvement, or at least creative growth and development and engagement with these technologies. So we had Google's leadership talk about how they are beginning to see benefits of the blockchain and how they might leverage blockchain to store their existing data better. And it's kind of interesting to see that, because the last time they made such public announcements of tech development, whether that was their Google Glasses or their involvement in social media, it kind of fell flat on their face, right? So here again, they're obviously it can be interpreted as a signal of good confidence in the use of blockchain technology for long-term projects, right? Yes, so we arrive at this point this week where we learned about big tech giants entering the space of blockchain and Web 3.0 and the use of or development of projects that could see light of day in the long term. So in the recent past, we know Google made announcements of their involvement in tech development, whether it was hardware in terms of Google Glasses or software in terms of their building of social networks, which were not so successful. So they were always apprehensive of that. And for them to come out now and announce publicly that they would be leveraging or at least working in their labs on blockchain solutions as a means to store data better, it should give a big boost to people in this space to continue to build dApps and other such products, right? Another such article that really was interesting to me was YouTube's, again, albeit part of Alphabet / Google, but YouTube's announcement of encouraging and the use or tokenizing content on their platform, right? So they want to be able to encourage their content creators and in a way to prove authentic content, for them to generate better revenues for themselves and remain profitable and continue to drive that originality of their content on YouTube's platform. And this comes fresh off the back of their YouTube's announcement of shutting down their own division of content. So they no longer want to do their own content production, but instead will continue to benefit from and encourage this, individual user space where people like us, distribute content on YouTube's platform. So together, both Google and YouTube now coming forward and announcing that they want to create an ambiance, an atmosphere which is conducive to using these technologies, both from the creative side of things as well as from a data management side of things. That's it for me.
Yeah, quite. So I think when I hear that about YouTube, I kind of have to think about them trying to just get a little bit of the pie, because I have seen a lot of influencers on YouTube, that have basically the largest amount of views. They are monetizing through merchandise sale, and I don't think it's easy for them to really get some piece of that. And they probably figure, hey, they're probably going to sell a lot of NFTs, so let's just set up a department so we can monetize a little bit of that. For example, if someone is trying to, sell an NFT, then they're getting a small percentage of that, for example.
Yeah, I could not agree more, right? So you got to think about what the Google's and YouTube's revenue generators are. It's ads. 86% of the revenue still comes from ads. So if people are watching original content through individuals like us rather than YouTube's own original content like TV shows, then that's where it makes sense for them to shift their resources towards. And by allowing us to create those NFTs on our content, then they can, definitely take a bigger chunk of that pie by allowing for now ads on those NFTs or on those contents as well. So maybe that's a way they'll structure that, but that's something that we'll have to see how they proceed and move forward with.
Quite interesting. What do you think, Reinhard?
I agree with you. Like they are trying to make having a pie of themselves, right? Like just selling the merchandise out there. And I heard that I think the head gaming of the YouTube is resigned because he sees that the NFT world and crypto and the blockchain world has a very promising.
Yeah, he's
future.
moving to Polygon, right?
I guess. Right, exactly. If I'm not mistaken,
And I
moving
think
to
there's-
Polygon.
Yeah,
And that's quite a
and
huge.
I think there's a
news
lot
there.
to that step, because I think a lot more is coming from Polygon. Not only because it's a layer 2 on Ethereum, but also because Polygon has a very interesting strategy around their scalability as a layer 2. So, for example, for gaming specifically, what they're aiming at is not yet live, but hopefully coming soon. Maybe with this new hire that will help, is that they will enable companies and applications and dApps to have their own blockchain as on Polygon. So Polygon that's why it's a poly, right? It's like a collection of a lot of blockchains that use the security of Ethereum, but then solve this kind of scalability and gas price issue. I think their whole system, correct me if I'm wrong, but it can do like 10,000 transactions per second, whereas Ethereum can only do 10 per second or something like that. So I think it's a very interesting project. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot more news coming from Polygon.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so from my side, I'm going to tell you about the news in C region, Southeast Asia region. So yeah, last week we heard about the Singapore's negative sentiment, right? So yeah, here comes again the negative sentiment from Myanmar. So here in Myanmar, the military government proposes to jail a digital currency and FPN users. Okay, so here we can see that Myanmar military ruled government is proposing to enact laws there, and yeah, they're going to jail the VPN users and crypto digital currency users. Like they're going to make some strict rule here Like, yes, I know that some countries or some regions are not that open to the world and to the technologies, right? So here, according to a report, so yeah, individuals caught using VPN will face a possible jail sentence between 1 and 2 years. In addition, the offenders may also be asked to pay a fine about $2,800 or about 5 million Myanmar kyats, and that's huge. Besides that, targeting digital currency and FPN users, yeah, the military government proposed regulations. So perhaps this is kind of negative sentiments here in Southeast Asia regions, and I don't know about their regulations on the technology side, but the the Outtalker, the director of NetBlocks, it is a UK director monitoring company. So he said that this is actually not okay. Like, the action of this are going to make the public sentiment further away against the military rule. So yeah, I agree on that side. But yeah, on the other side, each region has their own regulations, right? So what you guys think about this? Like, how we can, uh, what we should act about this, like for this Myanmar or Southeast Asia region, because we already saw that there are some sentiments, bad sentiments around Southeast Asia region, right? And yeah, I think I want to ask about that. How we should act about this? What do you guys think?
Dad, what do you think?
Yeah, you know what? For someone who loves using a VPN, I'll be the first person to go behind bars. But I think this is obviously a clampdown. It could very well be a connection with with what's happening in China with regards to their proposals or with their approach towards this use. But I wonder why. I'm not sure why they're concerned. Maybe it's a terrorism-related thing. Maybe they just want to clamp down on crypto for use as a means to fund different nefarious activities. I think it needs further investigation for sure. But when you speak about economics and Myanmar's contribution to Southeast Asian economy, let alone a global economy, it's not that significant, right? So I would have thought that the use of crypto would have assisted them in their growth economically in this region, but that's not the case. They're not pro that approach. So it's to be seen how this evolves in the next few weeks or over summer.
Yeah, let's see how that's gonna develop. You know, I'm not so surprised because you can see the same thing at the internet when it first came up, that a lot of countries, especially more military kind of regulated countries or autocratic countries, they will try to regulate the internet. Usually they fail because people use VPNs or use other solutions. But of course, there is always people or countries or people in power that are trying that. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Dev. Thank you, Reinhart, for your contribution this week. We will do another one next week to talk about whatever happened in the 7 days before that. We are going to have another podcast on Tuesday, which is going to be around the technical development of smart contracts, specifically NFT, so ERC 721 smart contracts. I'm going to have Josh in here, who's a development manager for blockchain. But for now, thanks everybody for watching and listening, and see you next time.
Thank you. Thanks for having us, Rob. Appreciate that. Thank you, Reinhard.